Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. This is episode 111. How easily do you create delight? Are you easily delighted? So it's end of summer. I've had an amazing summer. I decided at the beginning of summer to be easily delighted. So I want to talk to you about so many things that delighted me and how you can create more delight in your own life. If you are new to the podcast, welcome. I'm Dr. Edie Wadsworth, and I am the founder and creator of Life Mentoring School, a coaching mentorship for passionate, high achieving women who want to impact generations with their gift. I want to point you to a great resource we just created. If you go to lifementoringSchool.com/gettingunstuck, we just created a 3-part series that I think you will find so helpful as we head into another school year, as you begin to make some changes in your own life, decide you want to create some new rhythms, decide you want to get rid of some bad habits. You need to go listen to this series. It really will help, I think, and we have loved creating it for you. So go there and enjoy that series. I also want to say thank you to all of you who leave us reviews on the podcast. We're so grateful when you do that. I wanted to read a review. This person didn't leave their name. Their last name, I think, is Hike, though. So I just want to say thank you. This podcast has helped me so much. I sincerely believe that while many of us prioritize taking care of our bodies, we often neglect our souls. Dr. Edie's message is always encouraging, challenging, thought-provoking, and spiritually based. What a treasure. So thank you for leaving that review. We are so happy to be able to provide this podcast where you can get value for free, decide if our work resonates with you, and if it does, we would be honored to have you in our program. Life Mentoring School is a monthly mentorship where we take topical themes each month, themes that most women struggle with, want to improve at. We have currently been studying creating nourishing rhythms. And we are right now, this month, if you're listening to this sort of near when it was released, this is August, and we are talking about creating time and money abundance. And then next month, we're going to be talking about creating nourishing environments, your home, what you surround yourself with, the people in your life, just the surroundings that are so important to you creating the kind of life that you want to create. So we love Home Month. Everybody loves that month. It tends to be everybody's favorite. We sometimes do lots of just fun projects together inside of Life Mentoring School. So we would love to have you there. I think also I want to say that we have so many incredible testimonials that if you are interested in Life Mentoring School and just want to read what other people have to say, want to read more about it, you can go to lifementoringschool.com/enroll. All right, let's dive into delight today. So at the first of the summer, I hosted an event called Love is Magic, and it is a live event that I host every year for the people in my coaching program. This year, it was extra special because the program, we were able to feature our first set of coaching graduates. So I started a life coach certification, a faith-based certification this year. And our first set of graduates graduated at our live event. And then we had our normal stuff for the live event. And we had such an incredible time. We actually just got the replays back for Love is Magic. So I wanted to mention that normally we put those replays from our live event just for our VIP students, but we've decided this year they're so good. I think they're so helpful that we're giving them to everyone in Life Mentoring School. So if you join Life Mentoring School, you will get all of the recordings from that live event as just part of your curriculum. So I wanted to let you know that because that was sort of one of the ways that we kind of kicked off the summer. And we talked about so many times when we were creating that live event, how can we create more joy and delight? How can we delight our people? How can we create more delight for ourselves? How can I be easily delighted? I even looked up the definition of that word, and I wrote it back here: to take great pleasure in. And I think we often live in a world where we're exposed to so much that we just take so much for granted. I find that as adults, it's sometimes hard for people to be delighted. We kind of sit back and go, yeah, I've seen everything, impress me. And I want to cultivate this in my own life where I'm just easily delighted. Now, I will tell you something that delighted me this summer more than anything, and that was the week that I spent with our little grandbaby, Eli. And if you haven't spent time around babies, you should, because it's so easy to be delighted in everything they do. Everything they do is amazing, it's funny. We enjoyed him so much. We were so delighted in every little thing he did. We were sitting on the couch one day, and I was putting his hat. He had a little baseball cap, and I kept putting it off and on him and making little noises, and he was just cackling, and we were having so much fun. Just such a simple little thing, but just easily delighted. And I think a lot of times what keeps us from that, and that's why I mentioned my Getting Unstuck series, what keeps us from that is it's so easy to just let all the pressure and the stress and the overwhelm of the world become the way we live our lives. We're just so used to starting our day with thinking about the problems of the world and everything that needs to get done and everything that's not right and focusing on everything that's wrong. And we don't even sometimes feel like we have a choice because we're like, no, really, this is stressful. I get it. I've got stressful parts of my life too. But oftentimes what happens is it just becomes a habit for us to just keep focusing on that. And the more we make that a habit, that sort of pressure, stress, anxiety, we make that our habit, our bodies get used to it. It becomes harder and harder to experience joy and love and delight. And I shared this scripture at our live event, and I wanted to read it to you today. It was part of sort of the theme that I set for myself when I was creating this live event. And it's, I didn't even write down where it is in the Psalms. I apologize for that. But the scripture is this: I was daily the Lord's delight, rejoicing before him always, rejoicing in his inhabited world and delighting in the children of man. I love that verse. I think I'm going to read it again. I was daily the Lord's delight, rejoicing before him always, rejoicing in his inhabited world and delighting in the children of man. Do we delight in what God made? Do we delight in who he made? Do we love his creation? Because he does. He delights in what he made. He delights in you. He delights in us. He loves us. And he created us in this same way, in his image, to love, to experience delight in him, in his creation, in the people that he's placed in our life. And whether we choose this path of delight and love and joy or not will determine how we experience our lives, how we experience the world. You will always find what you're looking for. So what are we finding in the world? And what are we finding in the people in our lives? Are we finding reasons to be delighted? So we've spent really nearly this whole last year traveling. I told somebody today, I'm like, our kids are in all different directions and we adore them so much that we just spend so much of our time going here to see this one, going to see this one, go to visit this one. This one comes to our house for a week. And it's been so incredible and so amazing. When we left, we were just in Minnesota for 3 weeks, and we saw Steve's family, some of Steve's older kids there who feel like they're my own. And I was just like so sad when they left, so much enjoyed spending time with them. And then we had Emmy and Ellie there, and then Ellie just left on Sunday, and those girls leaving feels like such a huge loss to me, mostly because I love them so much and delight in them. And then, of course, there's my daughter, Katie, and we got to spend some time with her this week. And then I miss her so much, and Taylor and his wife, Mary Kate, and the baby, and we miss him so much. And I feel like it's been this sort of whirlwind of delight and enjoyment and love. And then, oh, my mama heart is broken because then they have to leave. And so it's been this cycle of that. But when I look back at my intention of just deciding to be delighted, Of course, I could make the argument that it's so easy to be delighted in kids that you love, but if you're a parent, you know that's not always true. Of course, there's little Tom Tom that is with us all the time, and he is talk about a kid that has a love and zest for life. I love watching him. He is a kid who is easily delighted. And I just want more of that. And I think it becomes harder as adults for us to create that because we let the pressure of the world become our way of thinking and being in the world. We just decide, we don't even think we decide. We look at our lives and go, well, I guess I should just be all stressed out all the time and feel all of this pressure. And we don't even think it's optional. One of the things that I teach my clients is the creation cycle. It's basically cognitive behavioral therapy, where, and this is a cycle of thoughts which create feelings, which drive our actions. And I was teaching this in my coaching group a month or so ago, where we have a cycle of love, which is made in God's image, how he made us to experience the world. And I call this our true self cycle. And then there's this cycle of really based in fear. And I call this our false self cycle. And it's so easy for us to get stuck in that, a cycle of fear and worry and overwhelm. And it's easy to let all the cares of the world and everything that's wrong in your life and everything that's wrong with your kids and wrong with your marriage, like, keep you stuck here. And this is not where we're created to stay. Of course, we're humans and we're going to experience that. But I love teaching my clients how to create this for themselves. How can we create more delight, love, joy? How can we decide to see things in such a way that we experience it more often, that we on purpose decide to take pleasure in the simple things? I want you to look around at your life today. You could easily focus on everything that's wrong. We all could. We all have stress. I just got a notice in the mail today that made my blood pressure rise, and I could let that take me down a spiral. But I have just, I don't know, I guess it's over the years of practicing, I have just decided I don't want to live my life like that. We have a choice. We can choose what we think. We can't always choose what happens outside of us. I often tell my clients there's all these things outside of you, outside of your own creation cycle, that you can control. What I got in the mail today, I can't control. How I respond to it is in my control. And it feels hard when you first begin doing this. And it feels sometimes like, oh, I can try to work on that, but it just feels true that I should be stressed out. But I promise you, it is optional. And when you decide to be more delighted, when you decide to intentionally look for things to be thankful for, things to enjoy, things to notice in your everyday, what will happen as you focus on that is that will be then at the forefront of your mind. You're always ready to be delighted when you decide, like, oh, I can experience joy, love, delight so much more in my life when I just decide to. And I just think it's worth trying. I know that there's a lot going on in the world, and I know things can feel so heavy. I'm right there with you, but we do have a choice. And I want you to choose the path that actually brings you the life you want. I often talk about, with the creation cycle, we have these internal results which we create for ourselves, how we experience life. Do we feel most of the time pressured, stressed, overwhelmed? Is that how we experience life? Or do we most of the time feel this sense of awe and wonder and love and joy and delight? You've got that inward experience. But the thing that's so powerful is that you're also creating external results from this creation cycle. So what are you creating for yourself when you live in stress and fear? I promise you, if you analyze that and you really think about the actions that you take and the results that you get from your life when you live it like that, it's not results you want. So if you feel like I'm in a season where this feels hard, go watch that Unstuck series. I think that will really get you on the right path. If you're, if you've been doing thought work for a while, following my content, or if you're in life mentoring school, you know that this is so possible. How can you create more delight today? How can you be easily delighted? What can you take pleasure in that is just the simple thing? that you can just decide to be delighted in. Who can you be delighted in? Think of that scripture. God delighted in what he made, and he delighted in the people he made. So, what can you do to mimic that today? What can you delight in that he made? And who can you delight in that he made? I challenge you to do that today. I promise you, you won't regret it. All right. Thanks for joining. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll see you next week. Bye.